from Spain Unfiltered. Right, I thought I'd do a quick video today about something that happened overnight because quite sadly here we've had a bit of what seems to be a gangland related shooting on the seafront, probably about 5 or 10 minutes walk from where I live here in Fongarola. Now, the Costa del Sol has always had a reputation as the Costa del crime, and I think that was mainly a 70s and 80s thing, even though it did kind of drip a little bit into the 90s and early noughties. That kind of moniker has kind of disappeared a little bit, even though over my 23 years here, I have seen a sprinkling of unsavory behaviour, be it businesses which are quite clearly fronts for money laundering and quite open major drug selling or drug industry here. But to actually have a shooting on your doorstep is quite a shock. This is not an uncommon practice. Marbella and Porto Banús and that area around there has always been quite gang heavy, and there's a lot of fight for whatever business they're after, illicit business I should say. And it's quite common that there's shootings there or gunfights across various plazas or things like that. But recently we've had shootings in Malaga. We had a shooting here a couple of months ago, and also shootings in Granada. Now, all these areas, all these places have areas which aren't the best areas, and like most cities, these areas tend to attract criminals. To have a more gun-related is quite a worry. I did read up yesterday. Once again, I should double-check this, that gun-related crime is higher than it is in the UK. Now, if that's true or not, someone can fact-check me and put it in the comments, because I won't check that. But it does appear that what's happened here overnight is a result of yet another kind of gangland-style shooting, if not execution. Because where I live on the seafront here, there are several Irish bars. I think there's 6 in this little area here. They're all Irish theme bars. If they're owned by Irish is another matter. I remember when I first turned up here, there was a huge Irish bar built in the centre, and everybody's like, wow, amazing Irish bar. But they had a huge picture of the 1966 England World Cup winning team on the wall, which, as anybody would know, that's not the kind of thing you expect to see in an Irish bar. Anyway, back to what happened last night. Now, what appears to be happening around about 11 o'clock local time, probably just after the football finished, a car pulled up outside this bar on the seafront, and 2 men jumped out hooded and basically shot dead 2 souls who were sat on that terrace of that bar. Once again, it's only speculation that it is gang related, but there has been a lot of talk about that particular place being connected to various things. There's always been rumours with that bar. How true they are, you would take everything with a pinch of salt. But usually where there's smoke, there's fire. In this case, it may appear that could be the case, very sadly for the 2 gentlemen or 2 people who lost their lives. I wouldn't say it's a worrying time that now we're worried that we're going to walk down the seafront and be confronted with people with guns. But it does show, once again, maybe the police are under a lot of too much pressure and can't cover everything. Because once again, if I've heard rumours about this particular place being connected to certain types of work and certain types of people, why aren't the police monitoring it? Of course, they can't stop anybody turning up and shooting someone. It might not have nothing to do with the bar owners themselves. But just a couple of nights before that, I was sat with a couple of friends in another bar, and we were talking about this very subject, about the crime on the coast, the kind of like the criminal world on the coast, and how it's been evolving over the years. Now, as I said before, there's always been an issue with Marbella and Porto Banús, but for it to start to move over towards this end, which is considered really a family resort, is quite worrying. And that these people would deem that they could do that kind of execution in, well, not broad daylight, in a public place like they did, be it they're making a statement or whatever. There has been a fair bit of criminal activity here of late, and I urge anybody who's on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram to follow a page called Fongarola Se Queja. Now, I'll put it up on the screen now so you can all see it, because it's an alternative way of getting your news, and it's run by local persons who tend to report on things that tend to get missed by the local press. So you'll have street robberies, you'll have whales swimming in the sea here, you'll have all sorts of different things. Jet skis going near near the beach, which was a topic only this week. But it's a good place to follow, and it gives you a general idea of what's really going on here. And we like to think we do live in a paradise, but unfortunately, like everywhere at the moment, there are some more unsavoury events or more unsavoury type things occurring, which does make you worry. People can connect that to whatever they want. But from my experiences here, I've always found the town quite safe. And although you do hear these stories, I think you can avoid crime to a certain degree. Right, now on to the weather. Now, the Costa del Sol is called the Costa del Sol for a reason. But we've recently had an earlier heat wave than normal. You expect here in July and August for the temperatures to get up way over 30 during the day and stay in the mid-20s overnight. But we've just had a mini heat wave, which is kind of been a dress rehearsal for the summer. Once again, could it be down to global warming? Could it be down to all sorts of things? But it has been a reminder of how vile the summer is here. Thank goodness the major tourism hasn't arrived yet, because we haven't got that melting pot one. We've got cars back to back and the beach is full of people, because that's still yet to come. But it was a bit of a surprise to find it up in the mid-30s yesterday afternoon between 4 and 5 o'clock, which meant the streets around my house were absolutely dead. Even the swimming pool, which I can hear people in at the moment this morning at 12 o'clock, nobody was back in it until after 7. And it's a reminder of here that if you are going to take your holidays, that be very careful what time of year you can take it, because these heats can be very dangerous. I worry for the elderly people who have to put up with that kind of heat here. And I imagine some of the Scandinavians have been caught out because they normally leave first week in June to go home for July and August before coming back in September. Even though it's down here, it's the temperatures it gets to in mid-30s and things like that. Inland, they're already looking at 40 plus in the shade. So I dread to think what it must have been like yesterday in the areas around Sevilla or Cordova. Pretty horrendous. We did have our first red weather warning, sun-related or heat-related, also over the last couple of days. So food for thought there. I dread to think what lies ahead. And maybe it's a good time to go and give my air conditioning unit a good clean and get it ready for these hot nights we're looking forward to. Okay, that's all I've got to report today. I hope everybody's having a great time. Don't forget to follow and like this video, and we'll be speaking to you soon.